So the following morning, there'd already been a bit of fallout on social media, as there's always going to be. People, the angriest people always shout the loudest, so we were always going to know quite quickly how people felt about it. So the fallout started quite quickly. But yeah, the email the following morning, I was actually mid-bike fit when it came through, and it wasn't that we or I expected somebody to put a complaint in. There was always a possibility, but at the same time I was happy that I hadn't broken any rules. The difficulty is then the moment somebody alleges you to have done so, it's difficult to not feel like it's your integrity being called into question, because it is my job, and it's my job to understand the rules and to obviously keep myself within them, but also other riders. And I knew that's what I'd done. I knew I could prove that's what I'd done. I suppose was hopeful that other people would then also understand the rules. I was wrong, and to other people, for want of a better term, misunderstanding the rules is what led to the complaints. And that's where the 7 weeks between the day of the race and the disciplinary hearing came in. It wasn't a fun 7 weeks. I stopped training properly, started eating a lot more, couldn't stop reading the comments, because no matter how much people tell you to just ignore it, if I said there's 150 people talking about you on Facebook right now, the first thing you're going to do is log on to Facebook and read it. And it was tough, I'm not going to lie. Again, not necessarily unexpected, but you never know how you're going to handle a situation until you're actually in it. And there are certain things along the way that take the comments and it makes the situation feel more serious. When people start calling your integrity into question just outright, and effectively assassinating your character because they don't agree with the bike, it gets hard, because at the same time you're trying to run a business that is directly impacted by what I do on a bike. So if then everybody's calling that into question, the business might struggle. So the hearing itself, an interesting experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody, mostly because of, for want of a better term, the incompetence of certain people that were involved. And it's hard when you've got people in positions of authority within the sport that we are in, who are carrying out character assassinations online, which is the plain and simple term for it. And it's the same members of the same board who are then on the committee that you are walking into a room to defend yourself against. And yeah, it's the way it works is bizarre, and having now been through that as a normal person, it's not quite right. And not quite right insofar as there are things that you're not allowed to do, or that should have happened, that didn't happen, that you wouldn't expect that to be the case until you're in that situation. Which is why this year I've made rule proposals to the CTT for the AGM based on my experience, because I don't think anybody can sit and necessarily not criticise, but commentate on what happened in a negative way without then proposing change. So that's what I've done. And the bottom line was, there was nothing wrong with the bike. There was nothing wrong with the position. The way the rules were written, yeah, I can understand how somebody else would misunderstand it, but at the same time, I didn't. And that's why I won the race. So yeah, the 7 week period wasn't fun. I've learned a lot about the CTT and the processes, and yeah, hopefully it's something that will continue to change for the better. because at the minute, the way that it happens isn't fit for purpose. And I think we've seen that, to be totally honest, we've seen that with other people that have been through a similar situation and then just left the sport. And that's sad, because ultimately the people that have left the sport were found not guilty. But the process and the way it works is what's led to that. I'm in a position where I can't leave the sport. It's how I pay my mortgage. So regardless of that, I'm a bike racer. I knew I hadn't broken the rules. So we carry on. And that was what we did. There were 7 different rules that I was alleged to have broken. And some of them, to be totally honest, were embarrassing to have to defend myself against, because they were specific to time trial bikes and the time trial bike category. So the way it works is you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent. And so if you don't satisfy the committee on the day that you haven't broken them, you're guilty. So you still have to go in and defend yourself, basically.